Everyone, how you all doing? It's Michelle here. Today I'm just going to do a little bit of something different. I've got a few notes. If you just see me look down, I've just got a few notes so I don't forget my thread, which is very apt because we're talking about knitting in Nottinghamshire. So let me take you back pre-1589, and everything will be done by hand knitting. So as you can see, my knitting needles are all up here. So everything would be done by these. So if they was making anything, if they were making socks, they'd use like we do, very much do today. And today it's like an art. Today it's more of a hobby, I would say. There is some people make a living out of it, but we all do it because we love it. You know, it's calming and whatever. But pre-1589, they used these, and they used it to supplement their income because it was so hard to make a living back then. So they'd make knitted items, like a waistcoat type thing, like a tunic, but mostly socks. So they'd make the socks and they'd sell them on local markets, you know, in the city centre, town centres, town squares, that's what I'm looking for. So they'd sell them on to make money. But in 1589, so this bit is true all about the man who invented the framework knitting machine. His name was William Lee. Now it's reportedly said, but they said this is a little bit where it's maybe made up a little bit. They say his wife used to knit all the time, so she'd be knitting socks all the time, and he got sick of it. He got sick of hearing the clack, clack, clack of the needles, and he got sick of hearing not spending time with him. So this man was an educated man. He went to Cambridge. His name was William Lee. He was from Calverton. He was educated at Cambridge. He did his training, then he came back to Calverton in Nottinghamshire. Been there many a time with the lads at football. It's Calverton Football Club. It's on the corner as you go into Calverton. So yeah, so we've been there many a time. But yeah, as the story goes, he got fed up for all that, and after he did his training, he came back to Nottingham to be a curate. So he was a curate at and this is where I forget, just 1 minute, I think it was St Wilfrid's. Have I got it written down there? I don't know. Yeah, St Wilfrid's Church in Calverton it was. And in 1589 he designed this knitting machine that would do the job of these things, and you'd no longer hear the click, 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 clack, clack, clack of those. And he made this machine. Now he tried to get a patent from this machine from Queen Elizabeth I, but she said no. It would take away from the hand knitting producers of socks from hand knitting. The hand knitting trade would go, and it was the poor that did the hand knitting. So she said if they've got nothing to do with their hands, idle hands and all that. So you know, it was then deemed that no, she wouldn't give it a patent because she wanted the poor to remain, I'd say she wanted them to remain poor. No change there then, is there, in the royal family? But so he didn't get it, so off he treks. He takes all his takes some workmen with him, takes his machines, and off he treks over to France, and he's trudging around France trying to sell it. Couldn't sell it at all. And then he came back, and he died shortly after. He died penniless in 1610. The workmen then brought the frames back. Just turn this over just to make sure I don't forget any notes. The workmen brought the frames back and they introduced them into London, and then during that period of over a period of years, the frame machines took off, and they developed workshops, and they did cottages, framework cottages. Now my own relatives used to live on a place called Crown Street in Sutton in Ashfield, but they didn't have much money at all. They were very poor, and they, in the upstairs windows, in the upstairs is like a single window, and they would place the framework knitting machine there to get the most of the light. And in winter they would work from sun up until 10 o'clock at night, 5 days a week. And in the summer they would work 14-hour days, which is a long while, and the whole of the family would be involved. It wouldn't just be like the man or the woman knitting on the machines. It would be the whole family. So the kids would be picking the bits up, somebody would be getting the wool from the sheep, you'd be keeping the sheep as well. And then you'd be, threading it onto the machines, weaving it, and what's it called, when you thread it, when you're spinning it. So you'd be spinning it as well. And they lived in like these. I will insert some pictures. I've got a picture of my what my two times or three times great grandparents' house they lived in, and they lived in this house, and like I say, it's no longer there. But when you just think about it, they were very, very poor, and that's where the term is coined, as poor as the stockinger, because it was only the poor what did it, only the poor. But yeah, so, and then they use the FWK, and that means, if you'll see that on a lot of what they called census, so if you see FWK on a census form for your relatives, it means they was a framework knitter. And they went into a big factory, they went into cottages, but these masters who had these cottages, they were charged extortionate rents, and then there was charged extortionate rental fees of the machinery, and a lot of the time they didn't pay them, they'd pay them in goods so they could work the machines, and they wouldn't get any wages. And then I think, let me just look at my notes, 1844 there was an inquiry into the condition of the FWKs, the framework knitters, in relation to what I've just spoke about, the high rents and high rental fees and things like that. So yeah, and then they just deemed it be no longer, they've got to improve on the conditions, but very much didn't. So we take for granted today, our clothes are now mass produced, and this one's hand knitted, but a lot of people nowadays are returning back to hand knitting, but a lot are still mass produced on machines. And the lowly machine was developed here in 1589 by a local man from Calverton. So yeah, I think it's quite interesting. But we all know the hand knitting, it is said to have originated in Egypt. So yeah, there's lots of factories. I have visited one. Oh gosh, they're deafening. And I've got some audio, I'll insert that as well, of what a single framework knitting machine would sound like in your house. But yeah, there's lots still around. There's quite a few in Derbyshire, Nottinghamshire, there's some as well, so you can visit them. But yeah, that's everything. And I'm in my room. I just thought I'd come up. It's brighter up here. Dog's asleep, so she'll be snoring downstairs and everything. So don't forget to like and subscribe. Take care. I'll speak to you all very soon. Bye.